Hello everyone, welcome back to another session with me. This is Sanyukta Saxena, and today's session we'll be taking our journey a little forward, trying one more tile and reiterate one more Bijouism, right? So today we will innovate, yeah. So I'm going to start right away and draw a curvy line running through my tile from one end to the other, something like this. Right, and I'm going to write innovate inside it. So I'm just going to add one more aura just to give it the effect of a ribbon running through. The tangle rambles. And then one side I'm going to convert it into a nice grid, taking a cue from this wavy line that I've drawn. Yeah. So converting that into a nice grid in which we can insert some patterns of our choice, whatever you feel like this. Yeah. And the other half we'll see, we can add any other tangle of our choice. We'll see what do we want to add. Yeah. Probably something grid based. So I'm just drawing some straight lines and probably we will convert it into a tangle which uses these straight lines as a part of the grid. So slowly take your time, add those lines. Yeah. So first let us write innovate. So I'm again going to switch my pen, use a bolder nib, yeah, and write innovate. So I'm going to write it also just inside, going with the curve. Like this. Yeah. So we can write one more time. Slowly take your time. Go with the flow. Go as the lines are taking you. Yeah. And then I'm going to probably use my brown pen and add some nice flux inside these sections that we have created. Yes. So starting from one side, you can draw any which ways you want. Feel free. Place it the way you feel like. Very small little spaces. If you can insert an orb, good. If you cannot, just fill it up. You can also use a mix of tangles there. Probably we will not add flux to all. Use a mix of flux and bunzo. Let's see. Yeah. So again, skip one. Take your time. Go with the spaces wherever they are taking you. Just maneuver your petal shapes in that fashion. Don't have to think when, how, where. Yeah, so just take your time and slowly fill up some of these spaces with the tangle flux. Yeah. And probably in some of the others, we will add some nice and dramatic banzos. Take your time. Don't haste up. Be patient. And add flux inside as many sections as you wish to. Yeah, probably one more here. Yeah. So now the rest of the spaces, I'm again going to switch my nib and add the tangle banzo. Yeah, so you can either, or you can add diva dance, rock and roll, whatever you feel like. Yeah, even diva dance will look very nice. So I'm just going with some simple banzos here. And then just ink with the highlight. So banzo is a drama tangle, has these bold inked portions, so instantly adds drama to your tile. Yeah, so I'm going to do this for all. Series of consecutive C shapes. That's the basic stroke. And then just go back and ink them in pairs. And you're sorted. Yeah. Take your time. Make sure you ink nicely. Don't haste up. Yeah, so I'm going to do that for all the rest of the sections. So I'm still continuing with the same exercise, almost finishing there. Just a few more spaces left to be inked. And that's about it. These two sections also, if you want, you can add flux or you can add banzo, whatever you feel like. I think I'm going to add some flux here. Yeah. So we are done with one part of the tile. Now let us move to the other part where we have already drawn a grid. Now there are so many tangles that you can draw there. Let us go with a tangle called B line. Yeah, I'm just going back and just filling in small little spaces left here and there. So I'm going to draw the tangle B line here. You can also add any other tangle like cubine, like floors, whatever you feel like. Yes. So since we have inking here, B line is also a tangle which will have a lot of inking. So maybe we can go with a tangle which does not have that much of inking. Go with simple floors or something like that. Yeah. So I'm just converting this grid into a square grid, and then I will go with a simple tangle like floors. Right, so just take your time, draw some more lines, create a square grid. Slowly. Yeah. So we have the square grid in place, and now you can either go to each add dots or you can add diamond shapes, whatever you feel like. Yeah. So I'm just going to go to each of the intersections, add a dot there. Somewhat a floor strangulation. Take your time, slowly do that for all. Yeah. So I'm done with that exercise, and you can see how beautiful floats looks like. Now you can either leave it like that, or if you want you can add some bit of zen there. Just add slanting lines running across like this. Yes. Probably it will start looking something like a tangled tink, but it is actually a float strangulation. So I'm just drawing some lines and changing the direction every time I'm drawing it. So easier to draw it this way. Yes. So let's do that throughout. Thin lines there. Double lines. And then just go back and do the other side. Yeah. Take your time. So I'm just going to continue like this. We started with the tangle floats, added dots at the intersections, and then I'm just drawing zigzag lines across each of the squares. And it starts to look something like a tangle called tink. Maybe you can draw that tangle itself. Yeah, so let's complete from the other side. Slowly take your time. Draw these lines. Yeah. So I am done with that exercise, and you can see how beautiful the pattern looks like. Yeah. So let us now move ahead and shade our tile. So I am going to add some thick graphite here. Add inside also to highlight my Innovate, but this time I'll take my graphite up to half and then highlight the other half. As far as Bunzo is concerned, good idea to add on both ends. Same for the flux. So highlight each section that you created using the grid. Take your time. Slowly add that graphite to all. Yeah. And at the ends, just like we did in the previous session, yes. So let us first shade this much and then we shall see what else do we want to add as far as shading is concerned. So I'm just going to make sure your ink has dried up, else you may end up damaging your tile. Keep it to the edges, don't blend too much. You want a white highlight in between. Yes. So just blend and highlight your grid. Don't blend too much. Still blending, take your time. Make sure you have blended nicely, you have blended all. Moving on to our center Bijouism, Innovate. Try using the same tangles differently. Create your own tangulations, variations. Coming next to our floors. Just blending the edges. So now if you want, you can add some bit of, shading under these lines. Not too much. I'm just touching so that I just get a shadow kind of an effect under the lines. Just a slight shadow under these horizontal lines. Yeah, now comes the time to use the chalk, the magical tool. We already have a highlight as far as our bunzos are concerned. So there we don't need to do much because we have left a highlight. You can add a little highlight on your flux. So just add a little bit of chalk there in the center. And then you can highlight the other half of your Innovate where you have not added chalk, graphite. So just run through your chalk over the other half. Like this. Yeah. Use a different blending stub. If you have it handy, just blend. And that's about it. I don't think we need to add anything else here. So that's our Innovate. So just a little extra darkness at the edges to highlight the grid a little more. That's about it. I'm just redoing the edges a little more so that that extra darkness is there and the grid gets highlighted a little more. Yes. That's about it. So let us close our tile here. Innovate. I'm going to put in my chop sitting here. Sign and date your tile. And I shall see you again with another new session on Bijouism. Till then, have a good time. Bye-bye.